survive. And that causes depression when you're used to hanging out with friends, for instance. When you're used to attending lectures and when you're used to interacting with a lot of people. Now you're stuck at home, and sometimes you're stuck at home alone with no parents.
Good afternoon, guys. My name is Tanatu Zimani, and with me here today is
Namakao Ngwenya.
So today we're going to be discussing about mental health. We've decided to start a series on mental health and how it's affecting youth in this COVID-19 pandemic. So firstly, I'll start by asking Noma what her definition of mental health is, or what she thinks mental health is about.
I think mental health is about being able to recognize when you're depressed, when you're stressed, and when you are feeling anxiety. So it's basically when you are psychologically not well.
Psychologically not well. Okay. I once heard someone saying that mental health is a state of physical, mental, emotional, and social well-being. It definitely means how you are able to cope up with your daily stresses. So it was just adding on to what you have said already. So let me ask you this question. How exactly do you think as youths we are being affected in this COVID-19 pandemic? How COVID-19 has affected our mental health wellness?
Well, I think the absence of an environment that we're familiar with. For instance, since schools are closed right now, we have that friendship base. Our what we're used to doing normally has been shut down. So that can affect our mental health in that now we have to adjust to a whole different world. Now we have to think about new means on how we can survive. And that causes depression when you're used to hanging out with friends, for instance. When you're used to attending lectures and when you're used to interacting with a lot of people. Now you're stuck at home, and sometimes you're stuck at home alone with no parents, and you're there. You really now have to face your problems. So I think overthinking also causes one to be depressed and have stress.
Okay, I hear you throwing the words depression, anxiety, and all of those big words. Could you give a layman's definition of what depression or anxiety is, and can you differentiate the two?
Well, I think depression is a state when you are failing to cope with stress, right? It's not stress, it's deeper than stress. It's when you are failing to understand your emotion. It's when you are failing to deal with them. It's when you are overcome with emotion. And anxiety is almost like you're panicking about a lot of things. You're panicking about who you are. You're panicking about the environment that you're in. You are failing to adjust to the environment that you're in at the time. So I think that's how I can define anxiety and depression.
Exactly. So as we said earlier on, that as youth, some are failing to adjust to this mental health COVID-19 pandemic that is amongst us today. And as you said earlier on, you said that people can actually develop depression, anxiety, and all those disorders because they would have failed to cope. So what exactly do you think we as youths can do to cope with the COVID-19 pandemic and all these problems that we are facing?
I think the signs that you should look out for is if you are a social person, like a sociable person, you start hiding away your feelings and you start not wanting to talk to anyone. I think those are the signs that you should actually say, maybe I should confront my feelings. I think what causes depression is that we don't want to confront our feelings. We are hiding them away, drugging them away, waiting for someone to ask, for instance. But even if you confront them on your own and you say, you know what, I'm stressed. What is stressing me? What is stressing me out? How can I better handle this? And I think also talking to someone, because we have a lot of friends, but then if you find that one person that you really trust and you tell them, and you know they won't judge you. Also, I think it's important for us as peers not to judge one another.
Exactly.
Because what causes suicidal thoughts is that we're being judged. Our Facebook is being judged, our Instagram is being judged. So because of that, we then think suicide is the way. So if we are not judgmental and listen, so there's a important aspect about being a friend is that you learn the listening ear. So if you don't learn the listening ear, then it means if someone decides to commit suicide, you have aided to that. So I think we should look out for those suicidal thoughts. Engage in hobbies that make you feel like you are who you are. Because the COVID-19 has denied us of a lot of opportunities. Some of us like clubbing, parties, maybe going to basketball, sports for instance. So find new hobbies to keep your mind active.
Exactly. I like what you said, especially when you say that people tend to judge a lot. For example, you have a problem that has been troubling you for months, for weeks, and then you try to tell someone else that I'm having this problem, and all of a sudden the whole campus knows, everyone knows.
Boyfriend broke up with you, for instance.
Exactly. And you're telling your friends, hey, my boyfriend broke up with me, and now everyone knows your ex-boyfriend is over my kids, everyone. Yeah, I understand. As youths, we tend to judge, but we should also remember that as much as we are human beings, what's affecting someone today will actually affect you tomorrow. Exactly. So I hate you talking about discussing with other people, finding something that we know is interesting so that we can cope. What other means, what other things should we do as youths to make sure that we are engaged? I wanted to say something else. I'll let you answer first and then I'll say what I want to say.
So I think I've tried personally, it's a personal experience, because I think I was close to facing depression because of COVID-19.
You were close.
This close. But I think acknowledging that you have family and acknowledging that you have friends, because sometimes as youth we like to think that we have a lot of haters, no one cares about us, right? And by so doing, we're pushing away the people that actually care about us. So I think finding a confidant, when you find someone that you can confide in, find someone that you can randomly tell them something and they wouldn't judge you. Also, reading a lot of self-help books helps. For instance, if you watch a lot of TED Talks, you feel better about yourself and you start practicing those things. And these days it's all about challenges. So there are a lot of challenges, like self-help challenges, like 30-day self-help challenges of how you can feel happy for 30 days. So engage in those things instead of a lot of sneaker challenges, try.
Interesting. I hear you talking about sneaker challenges.
There are a lot of challenges out here.
Challenges? Well, I didn't know. I only knew of the makeup challenge. But sure, it's helping other people though. So I had someone saying that the reason why some people, not most of the people, are getting stressed is because youths are broke, as in they don't have money. So most stress is coming from not having money, being broke. So I want to ask you, as a young person, how exactly do you think people should make money to avoid being stressed? Because I know being broke actually makes you stressed. No matter how much fun it may actually sound, but when you are broke, you're stressed. So I just want to know, as youths, telling other youths, what exactly can they do to make sure they get money to avoid being stressed?
So as a motivational speaker, I'd say is, do you have a problem in life? If yes, can you fix it? If no, why? So if you have a problem in life and you can fix it, for instance, you have a lot of opportunities, a lot of things that you can do online. You can start your own Facebook blog, you can start your own YouTube blog, you can sell stuff. Find a gap in the market, and sell stuff. The problem with us youth is that we shy away from doing stuff because we think, no, this is out of my league. But you don't have a league yet because you don't have a job. So we should, avoid that pride that's associated with things that we can't afford. For instance, we want a car, we're busy posting cars, but how are you working towards getting that car? So we admire us as a job opportunity, be a cleaner, get 1,000 bonds, you don't want. Be a Zoom call conductor, get 1,000 bonds, you don't want. But you're at home stressing about how So that status that we want to maintain, it then becomes stressful to us. It's a burden that we install upon ourselves. So let's go with the pride. If you want to buy good clothes, work for that money. If you want to buy good alcohol, work for that money. But if you want to stay at home and still complain, then that's not helping you.
Wow, exactly. Thank you. So I just want to add on, as youth, some of the things that we can do to avoid mental health challenges, we can exercise a lot. Take a jog around the park. We can have nature walks. We can even meditate. As you said earlier on, we can find a hobby, something that we really like doing. And then we can also confide in our loved ones. And also, we should also look for people that are around us. We should also look out to our loved ones, reach out to them, just asking them if they are okay. So today we'll end here. We have a lot of things to discuss as time goes on. This is a very big topic that we want to continue engaging in as youths, helping each other out. So for today, that will be it. Any last words?
They say exercise.